Hi guys, and welcome back to another episode of The Connector. Doesn't every great opportunity in life begin with a single conversation? I am your connector, Arielle Leavitt. Networking, making introductions, and bringing people together from all walks of life to engage, share, learn, and grow is my passion. In this podcast, we dive into the people that are behind the community and connection and have them share with us how different connections in their life grew their business and opportunities. Let's dive into today's episode. Welcome back, you guys. I am so excited. I feel like I have the best job in the world. I get to connect and bring like delicious business owners together and create opportunities and connection and collaboration and ideas. And we get to spark ideas with each other. Or ideas are sparked with each other, I think is the real. You guys are all laughing. You're like struggling with this phrase. Struggling, yes. But it's just so much fun for me. And so I'm going to do a quick introduction on my guest so we can just dive into the conversation that's going to be so juicy today. I'm just like excited I get to share it all with you. And it's recorded where we get to like post about it and share it and like re-listen to the conversation, because sometimes you have the best I'm speaking so fast. Let me slow down for a second. Sometimes we have the best conversations with each other and like we're like, oh, I wish we could have recorded those. And we are doing that right now. So like my guests actually, some of them haven't met each other before, some of them have, and I was like, oh, just the combination is so juicy and good. So I have Jessica Caresse with me. She's the owner of J. Caresse & Company, a transformation expert with nearly 15 years of experience turning big ideas into measurable results, from monetizing data, systems, and managing complex projects. Jessica thrives on bringing clarity to chaos and guiding businesses through strategic growth. So that is one of my guests, which I'm like, now I have to do all the three, like everybody. But like, I was like, and Jessica, welcome. So we got to like welcome you. And then,
Thank you.
Yes. And then, okay, then we're going to get to Stacey right now. It was just so funny. On my paper, you guys, I put everybody in this like order, and you guys are all sitting in the order, which is so bizarre.
Meant to be. Yeah,
That's so funny.
Like,
Oh
yes,
we felt that
totally.
vibe.
Yeah.
So Stacey Lucas, Evolution Executive Coaching, a powerhouse of an executive coaching and business strategy with over 2 decades of experience leading Fortune 100 companies like IBM and Pepsi. Stacey helps top-tier leaders transform their careers and businesses. And then, so like, as we're kind of getting the build, right? Like we're like, okay, guys, I feel like there's a theme to today, right? And then Blaire Brown, a digital marketing expert and entrepreneur dedicated to helping businesses establish and grow their brands. With her agency's strategic approach, she increases brand awareness and builds strong digital presence and drive into their successes. And I didn't even tell you, like, Visionary Advantages is the name of your company. So I think, okay, we have now a little bit of background, everybody. And now, like, the fun gets to begin for me, because I'm just so excited to bring you all together, because there's so many things we have in common with each other. Other than, business owners, for one, right? And being entrepreneurs and taking that leap into the unknown, which I like. It's like so juicy and good to me. I love this whole thing. So I want to like bring in branding, and I want to bring in strategic growth, and I want to bring in and coaching, right? Because these are all things businesses need to succeed. Yeah. You can't do one without the other. So, okay, like I'm gonna just pose a question like a panel. Unless somebody wants to jump in on anything, you guys are just okay. So obviously, like, networking is a very important thing of growing your business. So, and starting off as a new business owner, yes, you can post on social media, which Blaire will talk about, I think, a little bit this too. But you also really have to network businesses. Corporate, you don't have to. And Stacey, I know you came from corporate. You came from, a whole different industry of that. And you never had a network like that. And so what role has networking played in your success? And like, how have you really made that successful for your business? So who wants to dive in first?
I mean, I can start. So I think you're right. Networking in the traditional sense for me, like at IBM and Morgan Stanley in this way, was very transactional, because they understood the service that you provided, and it was really a paper process. As an entrepreneur, I think the biggest shift for me was to be more open about me and sort of really become bring out the human side of me, and that led to connections, which then led to, you know, that old saying, your vibe attracts your tribe. But really the relationship building piece, and I think the slow burn has been the biggest learning curve for me, is that it's not going to happen the way it did back then. As an entrepreneur, sometimes people come to you and they're like, oh my God, I just want you and blah, blah, but really it's about you curating and nurturing this relationship. And I think that's been as rewarding as it has been successful.
Mm-hmm. I love that. I think that you really highlighted an important factor. It's relationships. Yeah. Because I also worked in the corporate world back in the day, and it is different. But now, whenever you're in entrepreneurship, I mean, you're not going to just have clients line up and knock on your door, especially when you're getting started.
That would be good, though.
If only. But then you're like trying to scramble and get it together. And that's what's fun about being an entrepreneur, is maybe it doesn't feel fun like that at that moment. But you look back on it and then you're like, wow, like I really went through, I took the time and I got to know people. Maybe they don't need what I provide right this very second, but they might just connect with you. Yeah. And then 6 months later, they might have a friend who wants to, you know, in my case, build a website or need social media or something. They make an intro, and it's just nice to build on that relationship. And it really becomes, you know, just a part of an authenticity thing with your business, I think, because then it's like, you know, you're excited about what they're doing. At least I am. I'm always excited about other people's stuff. But to get to know them and see them grow, and then just to see the relationship grow too. But networking is so critical for any business owner.
Yeah. No, like I also came from corporate, like Stacey, and there was drastic difference for myself. Like with corporate, you would build your relationships based off of the project that you're doing with someone, and so like you kind of
there'd be an end date.
Yeah, there's an end date. There's an end date, but then like, I don't know, the types of bonds that you would build in corporate is kind of like you kind of get battle wounds together because it's such like a toxic place. So it's interesting. And then when I transitioned into entrepreneurship and trying to build out like my network and just kind of diving into everything at the same time because I'm nuts.
We all are.
It's a specific type of characteristic,
I felt like I had like an evolution because I was trying to figure out my own personal messaging, and then I was meeting people, and then they just kept trying to sell to me, and I'm like, what is this? You know? And then as I was getting more clear on like what I'm trying to do, my vision statement, all that stuff, then it kind of turned into like, I don't really understand what you do, you know, but I want to. And then I'm like, okay, I need to work on my messaging some more. Now it's like, oh, let's see how we can do business together. I'm like, cool, all right. Like,
I want to pull a thread on something. Well, it's just two things that you guys said, but I do think that to somebody listening, they're like, oh my God, what do you mean 6 months down the road? Like, how do you like get clients? Or it takes a long, you're like, that's, I think, the perception. But I think that as you get to know, like, and trust the people in your circles, those opportunities, and I will speak personally, I have co-authored best-selling novels. I started paid memberships. I've done retreats with people met at networking opportunities. And I think as you get to, this is the difference. I'm doing life and business with people, not just doing business. And that has been transformative. But I think the demon, well, I say gremlin, is when you first start, there's a fear of judgment. Are they going to, quote unquote, like me or my message or my product? And I think that for new entrepreneurs or people that made the leap could hold you back and self-sabotage.
Yeah.
Right?
That makes sense. Because like you said, it's when you're starting, you're like, I'm doing all these things. What's my messaging? Oh my gosh, that didn't land. Wait, does this land? And then you're you're scrambling, and it takes time to put together. It's what you said was so relatable. I think for everybody who's starting a business, truly.
Yep.
Yeah, I met somebody this morning actually who just started their own business, and I was like, I think it's so exciting. He just graduated college and went into entrepreneurship, and I'm like, wow, that's, it's really good. Not many people do that. And he had this idea and opportunity and he wanted to take it. And he did that. And he's like, I said, he went for marketing and advertising, like in college. And I guess, so how do you feel now since you graduated and are in the real world and actually building a business from nothing? And he goes, I said, can you take anything that you learned in college? And I'm not trying to put down college or anything, but he's like, no. He goes, it's very different.
It's completely different.
He goes, nothing could have prepared me for this. And I said, well, you're doing all the right things though. And I said, it was like, when I started my entrepreneur journey, I really wanted to listen to other people. And I said, like, this is like, listen, what? Oh no.
Can I put the mom with teenagers hat on? So I've got an 18-year-old. She's going to college, June, July, and a 14, soon to be 15-year-old. And I have had to come to the realization that whatever version and perception I had of what success meant, and a part of that was a college education, is completely out the door to some extent, because they have access to supercomputers and like AI and like all the things. But they are also light years ahead in terms of connecting opportunities and dots in a way that we are still playing catch up with. And so I've had to walk back my young mom expectations that they're just going to go to college. It's there for them, and my daughter does want to go, but my son, that's a whole different conversation for the next 3 or 4 years when he's ready. And I am okay with him doing what you just talked about, which is starting entrepreneurship. And I can help him with his business plan, and I can maybe get him a branding coach. Like, I understand the tools and resources that he needs so I can jumpstart him. And here's the thing, college isn't going anywhere. Like, you can go back. So that, for me, just saying that, one, I want to throw up a little bit. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's such a step back from what we've been taught to think makes somebody successful. And I think part of what I am living, learning, teaching is redefine success in a way that meets you where you are, and generationally is going to meet that generation. Like, it's not the same.
Your kids are very lucky.
Thanks.
Yeah, they are.
Seriously. Still throwing up a little bit.
Seriously, yeah.
But I think it's so important. And I think, like, if he falls flat on his face in a year or doesn't make it for 6 months, great. The life lessons and skills he's learned are going to be beyond anything he'll ever learn anywhere
But he's
else.
always had characteristics of that. At 4 years old, he stole my lemonade out of the fridge and, like, set up a lemonade shop and was charging people $1 a cup.
Oh.
That's
So he's an entrepreneur.
And he's cute. So he was just like, he came home with like $15.
Yeah.
There you go.
So
There you
I
go.
think queuing into that, and I'll link this back to our customers. They may not actually know what they need in the moment that you're talking to them. And so part of your job is, like, I don't want to say parenting them, but ushering them through a discovery process or a clarity process that helps you figure out how you can meet their need. And here's part of the relationship networking, or hand them off to, like, you if it's not my swim lane. Right? That ecosystem is important.
Totally. I mean, we're kind of like touching with this a little bit, which I actually like. This is one of my questions, and I feel like, ooh, this is a good segue into this. But it's like, what's the biggest mindset shift entrepreneurs need to succeed?
Believing in yourself, without a doubt. No doubt, no self-doubt at all. No self-doubt, none.
That's really hard.
Exactly.
Yeah.
None.
Do you see us all squirming? Yeah.
Super true.
Yeah.
I mean, I actually had lunch with an entrepreneur friend the other day, and we were laughing about where our businesses were 3 years ago when we first became friends and where it is now. And we were like, wow, we were crazy. Look at how it's changed. But we're like, but we had to get through that such focus and belief in ourselves in order to make, you know, the hiccups and steps and leap over hurdles to get to where we are today. And it's just a part of the process. But if you have the ultimate belief in yourself and you're able to persevere through it and be like, be okay with things not turning out the exact way you imagined, I think that's also important, because most likely you're going to go in with one idea and it might come out completely different. You're like, oh, I'm going to do this and sell that. It's going to be great. And then you talk to your audience and you're like, oh, I thought I knew everything there and I didn't.
Yeah.
It's very humbling.
Yes. I will say, so to add to, yes, mindset, but when you work for someone, chances are you've got a budget and benefits and like an HR department and CFO, and like you don't have to like worry about that stuff. You kind of just show up, do your job, and go home, unless you are the CFO, right? When you are an entrepreneur or a solopreneur, you are in essence all of those things. And I think if you go into it blindly, you're going to flounder for a long time, and many of us do. That's why they say, within 5 years, I think the statistic is like 60% of small businesses fail. And it is not having this shift of an employee to an owner. And as an owner, the buck stops with you, and you've got to be really clear about what capabilities and competencies. I suck at numbers. I can write strat plans and have written for federal agencies for 400, marshaling 400 people, executed by 20,000 people. I could do that in my sleep. You hand me a multi-million-dollar, billion-dollar budget. Listen, fetal position. So I think understanding the switch between employee and owner, and I think understanding your natural strengths, and there's a point you can power through, but you got to get help if you don't have it.
Yeah. That's a great point. I read the book, The E-Myth.
Oh, I love that.
I literally just told somebody about it today.
With the cookie, that's the one with the cookie store. Yes.
I told this kid that today.
It changed my life.
The E-Myth, yeah.
Wait, fill me in.
So
I'm
go
out of
on.
the loop.
So go. Yeah, you're gonna talk about it. Oh my gosh, this is so bizarre.
It's so redlined in my house. Yes.
It basically like really elaborates on what Stacey just said, because like for me, when I was in corporate, I'm like, I'm a good project manager. What are you talking about? Like what? Throw me in there. And so like a little bit of context about my background, like I started everything last year. Like this time last year, I had nothing. I had no network. I had no podcast. I had nothing. It was just me by myself. And so I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna start a consulting firm, whatever, And then I'm like, what the hell am I doing? I've never touched sales ever in my life, And then you have all this information about sales and marketing on the internet, And then I'm like,
DIY Central.
Yeah, and I'm like,
oh my
this
gosh.
doesn't feel right to me. And then like I stumbled upon the E-Myth, and I was listening to it. I'm like, I was a great, like, I forgot all the different terminologies, but like I was just like the great operator or something like that. Yeah. And my visionary stuff was sleeping because of all the self-doubt I had in the past. So it's like combination between belief in yourself, working on yourself, figuring out your visioning, messaging, all that stuff, your purpose, all that
I
stuff.
100% approve that message. Like, go read that book if you haven't.
Sponsored by.
I'm a visionary. I've got the great big ideas, and I can write the plan. But when it gets to executing, I'm bored. Yeah. That's why I'm an entrepreneur. Like I like to get up every day, and I'm like, oh, what am I getting into today? I mean, it takes a special kind of crazy.
Yeah.
To like embrace every day is not the same.
No.
I want to get more into this conversation, but we do have to take a commercial break. So like, I know, hold your thoughts, hold your horses, hold on, hold all the things, and we're gonna take a quick commercial break. Chase Studio is about making your home feel like you have a space that reflects your personality, style, and life. Whether it's a renovation, new build, or room refresh, Chase Studio offers 2D and 3D design packages to bring your vision to life. Our 2D packages are perfect for those who want a quick, stylish update, while our 3D packages take it to the next level, giving you a full walkthrough of the space before it's built. With our interactive 3D walkthrough, you can experience your space in real time, ensuring the layout and design are just right before you commit. Plus, if you're tackling a renovation or a new build, Chase Studios full-service design ensures your home is functional, beautiful, and truly you every step of the way. Let's make your dream space a reality. Visit Chase Studio at chasestudiodesign.com to learn more. Feeling the pain after a car accident, work injury, or just challenges of everyday life? At MedAmerica in Deerfield Beach, we're here to help you feel better and get back to doing what you love. Our certified outpatient rehabilitation facility offers expert chiropractic care and physical therapy, all tailored to you. With one-on-one attention from our experienced team, we focus on relieving your pain and helping you heal. Call 954-428-4707 today or visit medamericarehab.com. MedAmerica, where better starts here. Every great business needs a board. As a women business owner, you deserve one too. Welcome to the Boardroom, where women entrepreneurs find the support, focus, and community they need to grow their business. The Boardroom is a sounding board for ideas, challenges, and success to build connections, gain insight, and stay focused on creating your best business yet. Call 954-428-4707 today for more information on the Boardroom. Empower your business because success starts here. You've been listening to the Connector Podcast, where we talk about how being open to the right conversations can open up so many opportunities to build your business. Call to the show at 888-994-4995, Studio A. We're back. It's so funny. You were just saying, Stacey was just saying, when we count us back in for the show, it's like a ball drop count, right? Like, and I was like, I feel like there should be something like launch and ball drop or like 2025. Okay, so we were just in such a juicy conversation about the E-Myth and the E-Myth Revisited. Like, you have to read that book. So good as an entrepreneur, or just, I feel like almost anybody, it should be like a school reading book, because it teaches you so much about life and business, and like even if you're an employee, it teaches you what's happening, kind of like how a business is kind of run, and like not everything is just like made up, and it's like you think you can take like 10 pieces of silverware or whatever it is, like from the cafeteria, and no, like that someone had to work to create the money to like do this, to find the right one and the cheapest or the whatever it is, or the most expensive, because that's the vibe that they want to go for, whatever it is. But everything is curated in a business, and it's all about a vibe, right? I go with the vibe, right? It's all
about the vibes.
But one thing I wanted to talk to you also about is like, you guys all have like lots of good stories, and I did not prepare you, which I love. Like, you guys are like, yes, I'm here for it. This is like, I also have to say, this is very random too, of how this all came together in a way, but in such a random, but in such a like curated way, because I was like, hey, do you want to, you all said yes without really even knowing anything.
Because it's you.
Yeah,
Exactly.
literally.
I just showed up today.
I was like, Arielle's not going to put me in a room with random people.
Yeah.
Like,
You have a good reputation.
Okay, whew. Okay, good. Okay, so then let me shoot this question to you guys, and you might all run out the room. But no, it's good. But okay, can you share a time when a small change led to a big breakthrough for a client? Because I love these. These are like my like aha moments that happen in business. And it could just be like where you like took a client from like A to Z in such a, you know, unique way, where maybe that wasn't the direction, like Blaire was saying, like in entrepreneurship, where you think you're going in one direction and all of a sudden, oh wait, no, we're going right. We're going right. You know? And like, okay, so I'm going to use this for example while you guys are thinking for just a second, but like, can I just use I'm not going to use in detail what's happening today, but just the fact that you just said when we're in commercial break, Jessica's like, I'm a yes girl. I just go and I have these like crazy things and I'm like, I'm there for it. Who knows, whatever's going to happen, but that's the energy you're portraying, and that's what you get back, right? Yeah. And it all seems to work out for you or lead you into the next, like, you have all these amazing, you could call them crazy things happening right now, but they're like, it's the energy you're putting out right now. And so of course, like, it's gonna, like, it's finding you because you're igniting it, right? You're on fire about it right now. So I just think that's a breakthrough kind of for you more than I guess for your client, but we all have breakthroughs as business owners, more so than I think even sometimes our clients, right? Like, we are going through the biggest self-growth we ever go through in our lives as an entrepreneur. You learn way more about yourself than yeah. And also podcasting, and you guys are all podcast hosts. So many things in common. You guys,
So many.
I would say, so my podcast is Beyond the Quo, QUO, which is a short for status quo. And it's this concept that 80% of us are in some kind of status quo. Like we are complacent or comfortable with our life, and it may not be what we want to do. And I would argue that if you needed a surgeon for a big surgery, and I said, oh yeah, I got a guy, he's like rated a 5 out of 10, you'd be like, excuse me? Or if you're dating and I said, oh, I'm going to hook you up with a 5 out of 10, straight 5, you're going to be like, no thanks. Why would you settle for a 5 life? And so a transformative moment with a client that stays with me. So my background is I had a massive burnout, emergency surgery, flatlined. So I literally died and came back. The 3 things I teach is how to redefine success, live authentically, and lead courageously. And there was a client, an executive with a top firm, and she was in a very high stress environment and was experiencing anxiety. She had a newborn. She was on anti-anxiety medication, not sleeping, like all of the things, all of the signs that our body and spirit is giving us that things aren't kosher, right? Like things aren't where they're supposed to be. And we were in the thick of it, defining her core values and going through the whole program. And she was very resistant. And she said, I don't think this is working. I'm just going to talk to my doctor. Maybe he can like raise my dosage on my anxiety medication. And I said to her, you are choosing to stay where you are and to become even more medicated than make the changes necessary to come out of that status quo. And I will never forget, like, her face just literally morphed in the camera. She just started sobbing because it was such a moment where you had to confront your own fear of change and how hard that was going to be. And I think sometimes the hard and the yucky is so familiar that it feels safer than the transformation that waits for you. And so I always remember that. And then when people are pushing back or resisting, it makes me just a little bit more patient and just dig a little bit more deeper, because you can have a change like that. And now she has a foundation, she left her job, like her life 2 years later, just like ours. You talk about all the things you've done. It took a conversation like that with me too, with my business coach a couple of years ago. But I will say to you that yes, those things can happen after one conversation.
Truly is amazing, the power of conversations. And that's why I love having conversations and having a podcast, because that is really where magic happens, and in these conversations. And sometimes it happens on the air, and sometimes it happens off of the air. And we try to capture as much as we can, because we all can learn from it. Like just when you were sharing that story, like, oh my gosh, right? And so it's truly the power of conversations. So I always say, like, just talk to people, like put your phone down for a minute when you're in line or whatever it is, and just, I don't know, look around and see what happens and who you make eye contact with. It's funny, I've been walking, like every morning I just go for my morning walk, and I love it, and I say hi. There's usuals, the regulars, right? Like anywhere you go, there's always the regulars. 100%. We all like our routines, we like our things, and I'm always thinking, I should go a different route or do something different, but I go the same route because I know the time is going to get me done at this time, so it works out well. And I'm saying hi to everybody, and just do the wave. Hi, you okay? Yep, okay. The one thing. And over time, because you continuously see people, repetition, you start maybe having a little bit more of a conversation with somebody, and a little bit more. And it's funny how this conversation, like just by saying hi to one of the dog walkers in the neighborhood, or guy who walks his dog, I guess, we started finally talking a little bit more, because he almost hit me in his car, and he was like, all right,
yeah, start a conversation.
No big deal.
Like,
almost killed me. Like,
yeah.
Almost took my life. No big deal. We're friends now.
Now I walk his dog.
Forget.
Exactly. Like, so he's like, you need to get like a blinker with the thing, and I was like,
oh my
god. So
gosh.
wait, he turned it on you.
Well, no, he's kind of right. I mean, I should get like, I know he's a little
mansplaining. Okay, let's not even. Okay,
it's fine.
But so I know
we'll continue over happy hour with this conversation.
Yeah, really quickly though. But I have to tell you this whole thing. So I got the blinker with the flashing light, right? And it's blinking. It's so freaking. It's like so bright. It's blinding people. And he's like, it's better to blind people. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm going to cause them to go to the eye doctors more because like, no one's going to be able to see anything in life. But so then I got the safety belt. Now I look like a security guard when I walk around.
Wow.
Crossing guard.
Oh my god.
That's what it is, crossing
Don't
guard.
we live fairly close to each other? I'm totally gonna try to find you now with your blinkers.
Oh my gosh,
Oh
we'll be
my
walking
gosh.
children across crosswalks now.
Like, you literally remind me, there's this guy in my neighborhood. He rides his bike, but he has the helmet, he has the vest, like the orange one, the blinking light.
Prepared.
But he's like,
But he's not going to get hit.
he's like 70.
Yeah.
He's not going to get hit. But regardless, this all started a conversation between him and I, which has been amazing. And it's like, it's so fun to make those connections with people. And now I'm actually using his services. I found out that he's a car guy and he like buys and sells car. And I'm like, what? I've been looking for you. Like I've been putting that out into the universe. And I was like, gosh, I don't want to go to the dealership. I don't want to do the whole thing. I hate it. Oh my gosh, that's like my thing. I wish there was somebody that would just do this. And then this is what happens in here because of a conversation about maybe getting hit. But you know,
Experience.
Casual.
yeah. But it's conversations, and it's just having those like moments with people, and you never know where it's going to lead. I mean, mine was not as in depth as it's heartfelt as yours, but it definitely, you know, it's fun having those conversations. Is there a conversation that you guys can think of that Blaire and Jessica that you guys like? Not almost getting hit, but you know.
Yeah, no car scenarios, but one of my clients, she had started her business, you know, DIY style a few years ago, which, you know, everybody has to do. Sure. Adorable business, love it. Has a really good heart behind it. And when we first started working together, it was like, you know, okay, how can we do some press announcements? How can we get it in front of people more often? They were launching a book. How can we get that more books sold? So it started out that way, and then we worked together over time, and then I realized I think that there's a disconnect between people understanding the name of her brand and what she does. And that's a hard conversation to have with somebody, to tell them, all right, could you reconsider your brand name? Because, you know, they've invested so much time into it, a website, logo. How do you tell somebody that? So when people come to me for advice, I have to be honest. I can't hide that from them because that's only going to hurt their long-term growth. And so I had to, you know, have the discussion, open it up, but also be empathetic, like you were saying with your conversation. I like how you just, you know, you had that insight of how they were feeling and maybe what was holding them back. So your approach was really heartfelt, and I love how you handled that. For this one, I had to also, you know, be light about talking about changing the name, but
Because people are so married.
They're married to it.
They're so married.
I mean, it's your baby.
Yeah.
You're going through this life changes of taking that initial leap, trying things that might not work the first time, or maybe they do, and they're excited, nervous all the time. I always like to think of it as you're like Indiana Jones walking across one of those rickety bridges, you know?
Yeah.
You might step on a plank and fall.
There's alligators
you have no idea.
everywhere. Yeah.
Right? There's something. And so that's kind of like entrepreneurship. You're like putting that one foot on the next wooden plank, and you're like, it's a little sketchy, but we're going to see if I can get across. And then you make it. And then you do the next one, and you're like, this is really scary. And then you make it.
This is when we need Arielle's flashing lights.
Yeah.
And harness vest.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what we need. But that's what it's kind of like. And unless you're my brother and sister are also entrepreneurs, and we laugh about it all the time. We're like, we are always uncomfortable. We're like, what's the next thing we have to do to get to that next level? And we're like, well, this might suck, but I guess I gotta do it. And then we can just go all in, because you have to have that mentality. But back to this client, it took a couple meetings, and she was very receptive, which I was excited because she wants to grow. Yeah. And we ended up changing the brand name, and we remodeled the brand look around it. Now she's crushing it. It was truly just like that name she was connected to. Now people get it more. and it all just came together as a bigger picture thing, and so we're just building on it. So I'm really excited for her, but you know, it just takes, I think, sometimes an outsider to be like, what's going on here, what are the question marks, and then it's great that she was open-minded to that.
I love the courage you showed having that difficult conversation, because she could have been like, bye,
Definitely.
have a good life.
See ya.
Yeah.
And I think that a lot of us have to get comfortable as business owners with the fact that people may walk.
Mm-hmm.
And that's more about them than us.
Yeah. That's
know?
true.
Yeah.
That definitely was a risk.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I'm sure for all of y'all's businesses, it's the same way.
Yeah.
Anytime you have to step in and put
I've
your
got
input,
more comfortable
you know?
about firing people.
Yeah. No, doesn't
That's a
that?
whole
isn't
other
that the
skill.
truth?
Yeah.
Same.
That's a whole.
That needs
That's
that
a whole
needs a
other
whole
conver-
series.
That's a whole-
That's the cocktail series on
Yeah.
this show, right?
Exactly. Oh my gosh, you guys are all amazing, and thank you for all being here. As we've been talking, I didn't realize all the things that it's just some things even more that you have in common. You all came from corporate. For some reason, I thought, Blaire, I forgot, I guess, that you worked in corporate for a little bit, but like, because you've always been an entrepreneur. And so it's just so cool that you guys all have made that change. And then, and then just so many different areas. It's really, really cool to see. Before we go, where can everybody find you? And then we'll wrap up, and I'll share some good highlights from today. Yeah. So go for it, Jessica.
Yeah, you can find me anywhere, everywhere, Jessica_Caresse, whether Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, all the works. Jessica Caresse.
So check out my website, Stacey, Stacey, Lucas, Luces.com, and you'll find all my social media handles. And check out my podcast, Beyond the Quo. And thanks for having us. This was amazing.
And if you go to visionaryadvantages.com, you'll find all of the entrepreneur resources, marketing and branding, and my social media handles as well.
And before we totally go, I just want to leave everybody with a couple takeaways, because there's so many juicy things that happened in this conversation today. But if you build it, they will come. So network. That's what you really need to do. It's not really like if you build it, they will come. It's if you build it, you have to network. Then they will come. But life and business with people, not just business is life and with people. It's not just business. It's a whole collaboration. You can't do one and not the other. Really bring that together, and then redefine success where you are. I love that you said that. It's so true. And let go of the outcome, because the right come will find you. Which I just, oh my gosh.
Oh my God. The right opportunity. Yes.
Outcome.
They'll
I
find
think you
you.
meant outcome.
Full disclaimer, this is not a Pornhub couch. We're business owners, not OnlyFans.
You guys, don't make me throw up right now. Oh my God. It was the best. We'll see you all next week for holding up.
Thank you for taking the time out of your day to connect with me here. I love to hear more from you at arielletheconnector@gmail.com. See you all next week for a whole new connection.
Difference. I'm doing life and business with people, not just doing business. And that has been transformative. But I think the demon, well, I say gremlin, is when you first start, there's a fear of judgment. Are they going to quote unquote like me or my message or my product? And I think that for new entrepreneurs or people that made the leap could hold you back and self-sabotage.